Does your young child cower and hide when they're introduced to someone new, or maybe they're in a new situation? In this short video, I'm going to tell you step by step what you can do to help your child overcome shyness so they won't continue to suffer and become a shy adult. That's coming right up. Before I get started, I just wanted to tell you all of this information is available in my book, How to Train Your Child to Behave. There is a link for it in the description below. So think about this situation. You go up to someone and you say, "Hello, it's nice to meet you." And they turn away or they ignore you. Is that rude? Of course it is. But we allow our children to behave that way, and we don't teach them differently because we chalk it up to shyness. If you want your child to feel happy and confident when they meet new people, it's important that they overcome their shyness. Shyness is a sad thing. Some people might think it's a little bit cute or whatever, but in the end, what it is it's a social fear, and it's not fun for the person who is shy. It also makes the people around that person a little uncomfortable. So with that in mind, let's go on to the two basic reasons for shy behavior. Number one is they are naturally shy. And number two is they act shy to have control. So one is an actual fear and the other one is actually a manipulation tactic. Either way, it's still important that your child overcome shyness, whether it be a fear or whether they're manipulating. Now here are the steps you can take to help them do that. Number one, help your child change their mindset. The main basic concept of being polite is to make the other person feel comfortable. Shyness is actually about thinking about yourself, worrying about yourself, worrying about your fears. You may think, oh, children are too young to understand that. But actually, small children can understand when you tell them, think about something else. Don't think about yourself, think about the other person. For really young ones, it's easy and simple just to explain, remember, don't think about yourself, think about how you can make the other person feel comfortable. You can even ask them, what are some ways you can make the other person feel comfortable? Maybe you could smile. Maybe you could say hello. Maybe you can reach out your hand. Number two, do not label your child as shy. Now this is a very important concept. I'm sure you've seen the scenario and maybe been the parent in it. A parent introduces a child to someone new and they cower or hide behind the parent's legs. When that happens, what does the parent commonly say? Oh, they're just shy. What does that phrase teach the child though? It teaches them that this behavior is acceptable and they don't have to acknowledge or address the other person. In other words, what it really does is it gives the child an excuse in their own mind to behave in a rude way. Remember our goal here. It is to help your child overcome shyness. Labeling shy behavior as acceptable does not help reach that goal. So if this scenario happens to you, here's a better thing to say. I'm sorry for her behavior. We're working on that. This phrase sends a different message to your child. It says, this is not acceptable behavior, and there is a plan to help you behave differently in the future. Now really, this phrase, we're working on that, is a great phrase to use in parenting all the time. It tells your child something they've done isn't right, but it tells the other person observing that you recognize that and you're doing things to work on that behavior and help it to be better in the future. Number three, role play at home. If you know your child has a tendency to behave with shyness, practice at home how are they to act when they start to feel this way. Set up pretend meetings at home like you're pretending to meet them and talk to them about how they feel at that moment when they're meeting someone new. Remind them to overcome their irrational fears and to step outside of their comfort zone. Have them come to you and then tell them that you're going to pretend that they're meeting you for the first time. Have them say, hello, my name is Susie or whatever. Then when they say hello to you, turn away and ignore them. Then come back and say, how did that make you feel? Obviously, that's going to make them feel uncomfortable and kind of sad that the other person they were talking to just turned away. Then have them say it again. Hello, my name's Susie, what's yours? Then smile, put your hand out and say, hi, my name's Holly. Now ask them, how did that make you feel? Pretend again, but this time when they say, hello, my name is Susie, what's yours? Go ahead and hide your face behind your hands. Then again, ask them, how did that make them feel? Was that rude? Do it again, but this time have them ask a question like, did you like the cake you had for dessert? Or what kind of pet do you have? When they ask you that question, just turn away and ignore them. Then come back and say, was that rude? Did that make you feel a little uncomfortable when I didn't say anything back to you when you asked me a question? What you're doing when you're doing all of this role play is you're having them experience why it's rude to turn away from someone when they talk to you. And by having that experience, they learn that feeling that the other person has, and it makes them more motivated to want to make the other person feel comfortable. Then go back and do those scenarios again, but this time answer the questions in the right way. Did you like that cake you had for dessert? Yes, it was really good. Did you like yours? Also be sure to teach them to shake hands, say hello, look the other person in the eye, and smile. Another good idea is to have them do this practice role-playing with other people they know well, like maybe their grandparents or their older siblings, or maybe some close family friends. Number 4, take them aside for a conversation. Going back to the situation we discussed a minute ago, let's say you introduce someone to your child and they hide behind you. What should you do at that point? What you should do is say to the other person, I'm sorry for her behavior, we're working on that. And then take your child aside to a private place and have a conversation. An eye-to-eye conversation where you're reminding them about the role playing you did and how important it is not to be rude and to be sure and make the other person feel comfortable. Then talk to them about what they can say in regards to what the other person might have said. Maybe they're meeting someone for the first time. Maybe that person asked them a question and they ignored their question. Whatever it may be, have them practice how to answer. Number 5, have them try again. Go back to the person that they were rude to and have them try again. Now I know this might seem a little bit uncomfortable for you or something, but think about it for a moment. First of all, most people really appreciate the effort of a parent to teach their child how to properly socially interact, so they're usually going to cooperate. But the other thing that this action does is it teaches your child something. It teaches your child that just because you're in a public place or you're meeting or greeting other people, they cannot get by with being shy. They have to step outside of their comfort zone and they have to try. And you're letting them know they're not going to get by with it. If they do that, all they're going to do is have to do it in a few minutes. So that will motivate them also the next time to do better. Number 6, help them play with or meet friends in a controlled setting. If you know your child has a tendency to be shy in social situations, set up play dates with other children where you can observe how they interact and help them practice. Notice if they go to a corner by themselves or hesitate to get into play with others. If you see them cowering away, take them aside and talk to them again about engaging with other children. Tell them to go ask another child to play, maybe with a toy, or to play a certain game with them or whatever it may be. If they don't want to do that, don't push it. Don't make them do that. Instead say, that's okay, just come and sit down here by me until you're ready to give it a try. While they're sitting by you, don't allow them to play with other things or whatever. Now, this isn't getting them in trouble. It's not putting them in timeout or anything like that. What it's doing is telling them again in a kind way that you're not going to allow them to live in fear. You're not going to allow them to let their shyness overcome them. Don't get angry. Don't scold them. Just let them know that this is a play date. So this is time to interact with others. When they're ready to do that, they can give it a try and then wait patiently. Eventually, when they see other children playing, they will want to participate. And I just want to set a note here. It is totally okay if your child wants to play that by themselves some of the time. That's totally fine. Just be sure that they're not using their fear to go away from others and letting that shyness overcome them so they don't interact with others on purpose. Don't let them manipulate you. Most of the steps so far have assumed the reason for the shy behavior is the natural inclination to have social fears. But there is another reason for the shy behavior that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and that is to manipulate others. Sometimes it's not about fear with a child. Sometimes they just don't answer an adult or they turn away, and they're just doing that to show a sense of control and power. Now, I'm not saying that a child who does that is some kind of conniving person. It is just a natural thing that some children want to show they have control or power over others, and this is a way they show it. This happens with other behaviors too sometimes. For instance, sometimes a child throws a tantrum because they really don't know how to control frustration, but other times they throw a tantrum to get their way. That's just another example of a child doing something inappropriately to try to control a situation. As a parent, it's good to be able to discern which is going on with your child, although no matter what's going on, they still need to overcome that behavior. Maybe you're one of those parents that has a really soft heart and you can't stand to see your child cry or be angry or be dissatisfied or uncomfortable in some way. That's okay, I understand, but remember, it's in your child's best interest that they don't behave this way. It's up to you to guide them away from manipulation by requiring them to behave properly, and it's also up to you to help them overcome social fear so they can be confident. So don't let their tears or fears stop you. Showing your love and support and building a relationship is all part of good parenting, but so is requiring them to learn things that they may not want to learn at the moment. Has this video been helpful? Be sure and subscribe, and also click on one of the cards right here to see another step-by-step instructional video. Parents, you can do this.